Welcome to the Rebellion. Episode 26 of Radio Rebellion, a Star Wars podcast. Thank you guys for coming in. I'm your host, Alberto Calderon, as always, and thanks. I know we didn't have a show last week, but we're here this week. So thank you guys for tuning in, as always. I appreciate when you guys are here, listening to me ramble about Star Wars and jumping in on the chat to make this show a little bit more entertaining, because an hour of me just talking is not fun enough. It is sometimes, but thank you guys as always. I see a few of you guys out there already. Mr. Reyes, thanks for coming. Semper Fi Danny, thanks. Might be the first time I see you on the chat. Thank you. I have your questions here. We're gonna have fun with that one later on. And let me do this real quick because I forgot to. There we go. So yes, episode 26, hopefully, and let me go back to you guys in the chat. Let me know if you can't hear me or if there's any problems with the audio. We had some issues 2 weeks ago. Hi, Peter. How you doing? JT Comlink. So yeah, we have some problem with the audio. 2 weeks ago, I had to start the show 3 times, but I did check about 30 minutes ago, and I think everything is going fine. So if there are any issues, let me know, and we'll try to fix it on the fly. Episode 26, last week, like I mentioned, we didn't go live. We had just the audio podcast. Hey, Anthony, how you doing? Always fun to have you guys around. So yes, we didn't have a live show last week for episode 25. Yay, 25 episodes. Who knew we were going to make it that far? But we had a great show with the guys from Matt, from Wannabe Jedi podcast, and the Geek Strike Back. We're also there. We went for almost 2 hours talking Star Wars, having a lot of fun. So if you guys haven't checked it out, please go to the podcast, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, wherever, and give it a listen. So far, it's our second most plays, just the audio podcast. So let's see if we can make it to number 1 in the next coming days. So yeah, check it out. We have had a lot of great fun. I love having guests on, same as when you guys are on the chat. I get to speak with you guys, and that's what I love about doing this, speaking Star Wars with everyone. And on that note, in 2 weeks, I believe, not next week, but the following one, no, 3 weeks actually, sorry. Again, who knows what day it is today. July 13th, we're going to have our next guests. Michelle and Natalie from the Force of Light Entertainment will be here with us talking Star Wars. We're going to be talking about woman in Star Wars, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Set your calendars. Again, I believe that's July 13th, and we're going to have a lot of fun. They know their stuff. I got to be on my A game that day. So yeah, it's going to be great. So start getting those questions ready and make sure to tune in. Again, thanks for you guys that are on the chat. Anyone that's coming later on the replay of the video, make sure to leave your comments below. If you have any questions about any of the topics we're going to be discussing, I'll try to jump in later and answer them. Or if you're listening to this on the audio podcast on Monday, same thing. Send me your comments on Twitter, anywhere. Again, rate and review the podcast if you haven't already on Apple Podcasts, 5 stars, 1 star. It doesn't matter. Just let me know if you guys like it. If you don't like it, and we'll try to fix it as we go. So yeah, Father's Day weekend. So happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Yeah, you really can't see, but I'm rocking my number 1 dad, Vader, number 1 dad. Depends from a certain point of view. We're going to be talking about that later from a certain point of view. So yeah, I know when we had Mother's Day, we did our Mother's Day show, Mothers in Star Wars. Father's Day was coming around. Should we do the same thing? I kind of decided against it. I think we talk enough about all the male characters in Star Wars. We don't need to just dedicate 1 episode to them. And also, have fathers been the best in Star Wars? Probably not. But Shannon Moran up at Postcards from Galaxy's Edge did a great video. I saw it this morning talking about when Star Wars spoke to you as a father. I do regret not sending my thoughts to her, because it was great listening to everyone else. So I'll talk a little bit about it as my Father's Day special, I guess. So yeah, I'm father to 2 young kids. Son that just turned 7 a few weeks ago, and then a daughter turning 10 years on July. So in basically 4 weeks, she'll be 10. So yeah, my perspective, not just on Star Wars, but in everything changes once you become a father or a mother. Once you become a parent, everything changes in the world. And the way you view, at least the way I view movies and special scenes kind of take a different meaning. Younger, growing up, you watch Star Wars, it's lightsabers, the light side, dark side, good guys, bad, X-Wing against TIE fighters, the Death Star, and all that stuff. And all that mushy parenting things, kind of, all right, give me the action. But as you become a parent, things change. You see things a different way. You interpret things differently. And not only being a parent, but also losing my parents a couple of years ago, you see things from, as a son, missing their parents, and then as a parent with your kids, what you want to instill in them on Star Wars. We've talked about some message of hope, at least for me, especially Luke overlooking the binary sons on Tatooine, trying to be more than you are, not just settling for that fate that has been thrown into you. And that's what we want for our kids. Always make sure they have the best life. And no matter what they're doing, trying to give them hope and push them forward. I don't push Star Wars on my kids. Every time I put a movie on, they'll come to me and say, oh, Star Wars again, that's boring. And then they'll sit down for 2 hours and won't move watching the movies. And they ask questions, especially my daughter being almost 10, and we discuss a lot of the issues going on in the movie. But again, being young, they don't pay attention to a lot of the things I'm doing now. But again, my daughter, she's involved. Like I said, she wants to watch all the movies. She went with me to all the new Disney era Star Wars movies. She's gone. She's loved them. Her favorite characters are Rey and Padme. So you always try to remind her how important the representation is, how important what those characters are doing in Star Wars. And as a parent, you want to see your kids grow and appreciate all the good points they can learn from Star Wars. But you start seeing it in a different way. Like I mentioned, the Phantom Menace, the first time I see that movie being 19 years old, you see young Anakin telling his mom that, oh, I can't do it, I can't leave you. And her mom, no, go, it's a better life for you. Now, as a parent, that scene is completely different. I talked about this when we did our Mothers in Star Wars episode, how hard it is for me as a mom to let her son go, even if it's for a better life. Seeing that as a parent, I can't be in that position if my son or my daughter comes to me. So I can't do it. Don't send me away. And knowing that even sending me away is for a better life, seeing that scene as a parent and how difficult it must be for me as Anakin's mom to let her son go even for a better life, it hits me so hard. And again, also as not having my parents with me, I see from the other end, being a kid, not wanting your parents to leave and wanting, you always want them to be with you as the security blanket, but you have to at some point let them go. And starting to get emotional, so I'm going to hurry this on. Going to the end of Rise of Skywalker, the one thing that I didn't want, which was the redemption of Kylo Ren, Ben Solo, not wanting that to that being my favorite part of the movie. And I see it both ways. Again, as a son, wanting your parents to forgive you for anything that you've done wrong, wanting their affection and their recognition, even though you've been wrong for them. And then as a parent, always knowing or trying to get your kids to understand that no matter what they do, you're always there for them. So that's why it's hit so hard as a parent. Look, if I wasn't a parent, I don't think that scene would have hit me as hard as seeing Han Solo tell Ben, no, we're here. Yeah, your mom might be gone, but what she stood for, what she stands for, it's here. We love you, son. We forgive you. And him needing to hear that, again, as from both sides, it hits hard. So yes, Star Wars is this big adventure where it has those things that you can take with you from just, oh, that didn't mean anything to me, to all the other extent. So yeah, Star Wars is for everyone. And being a parent, as a father, you see all those scenes completely different. And it does hit you a certain way. And hopefully, as my kids grow and they keep watching these movies, then they start seeing those themes and they can apply them to their lives. So yeah, that's my story as a father in Star Wars. All right, so let me go back to the comments real quick. Oh, Michael from 2me2, how you doing? Hey, thank you guys for being here. Anthony, like you say, yeah, last week was a lot of fun. So if you guys haven't listened to that episode yet, episode 25, we had a lot of fun with those guys. So at some point soon, we'll have them back. That doesn't matter. We'll get them back. Yeah, so just one more song. There's not only Kondo. There you go. Just follow this guy. He's got some great stuff going on his channel. So, all right. So with that kind of said, if you guys are ready, I know I'm ready. So let's talk Star Wars. Sorry, there we go. Star Wars news. So there's a few bit of news this week in Star Wars. So let's get right to it. And the first one is not the best news, but it's something that we all were thinking was going to happen. And that is the Star Wars Celebration 2020 has been canceled, or at least postponed until 2022. So reading from this came straight from StarWars.com. Due to the global impact of the COVID-19 virus and in speaking with local and state authorities on the latest public health guidelines related to indoor conventions, we have made the decision to cancel Star Wars Celebration 2020. While this news is disappointing, we are happy to announce that Star Wars Celebration will return to Anaheim Convention Center August 18 to the 21st, 2022. So yeah, bad news for all of us Star Wars fans, even though I wasn't going to be attending this year to Star Wars Celebration because it is a very long flight from Florida to Anaheim. I was waiting for all those great news, great segments that they do, movie news, TV news, or authors panel, all that great information we were going to be getting, I think in 2 months or a month and a half. Unfortunately, we'll have to wait. But they did say that there's going to be more announcements during the summer. Also, more reports came in, I think the next day, saying that next year, D23 Star Wars is going to have a bigger presence than in previous years. So we're going to get a lot of news that day. But yeah, that's still a year off. So hopefully they do something else. I've been wondering if they'll take a page out of Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU, and do maybe not a full convention, full virtual convention as who is it? San Diego Comic-Con is gonna be doing, but maybe just a whole day, just all the panels, a movie panel, a TV panel, and an authors panel, giving or most of the information that we're going to give in those 4 days or 3 days at Celebration. Hopefully they do something closer to summertime, although today's officially the first day of summer, but closer to August, maybe they start releasing more information. I believe it was Kevin Scott, I think it went on Twitter yesterday saying that there's going to be news about the High Republic coming in on Monday, so 2 days from now. Or unless if you're listening to the audio podcast when this drops on Monday, there might be some more news over there about the High Republic. I'm so excited for the High Republic, so any news about it is good news. But before we could keep talking about Star Wars celebrations, for you guys out there on the chat, were any of you guys planning on going to Celebration this year? Are you guys bummed about it? At least for me, like I mentioned, I wasn't planning on going. I'll have 2 years to plan. I know it's going to be in Anaheim, so maybe 2 years to try to convince the family to fly all the way to California. So we'll see. And if you listen to last week's show, if I go over there, there's a slice of pineapple pizza waiting for me from someone. Maybe the only time I'll try it. So that might be the only reason. I'll spend thousands of dollars flying to California just to try a slice of pineapple pizza. I won't like it. Oh, look who's here. Eden, how you doing, Eden? Thanks for joining the chat. And thanks for my point of view as a father. Semper Fi Daniel, she's a sad but relief. I live across the border in Canada. It's unlikely the borders would open, but if they did, we legally have to self-isolate when we get back. And that's a great point. We forget Star Wars is universal, basically. So everyone follows this. It's not just for the people in the States. So I'm sure they took that into consideration. People coming from Canada, from Mexico, still here in North America, all the people coming from Europe, Asia, all those borders are closed. There's a lot of isolation for 14 days. We have to come here basically 2 weeks ahead of time, and that's not as simple as some people might think. So hopefully in 2 years, things are a little bit back to normal, and this can happen for everyone. yeah, again, Danny, like you say, hopefully they'll release something this year, if not D23. Eden, Relief, and I can hopefully go to next celebration. See, I'm with you. This gives me some time to plan. Anthony, like you say, you weren't going either this year, but hopefully we get something later. Peter, same thing. Everyone's bummed, but relief because of health. Hopefully everyone listening to this show right now feels the same way. Stay home. Always stay safe. Wear those masks. People tell you not to wear masks. Wear masks. I will work close relation with the health, not Department of the Health area here at Florida. So yeah, keep wearing those. Florida, it's crazy over here. It's getting worse and people think it isn't. So, oh, look at Michael, saving that money, going to Ireland next year on D23. There you go. Save that money, use it for 2 trips instead of 1. He knows what's going on. So yeah, it's a bummer, but it might give some of us a little bit more time to plan, gives Lucasfilm Disney more time to plan it. Hopefully this pandemic is over with and there's good news in the going forward. But yes, bad news. I think we're going to be getting some news. Hopefully it's not just sporadic. One day, here you go, there's a tweet about a new movie and it's something more planned, more people are invited. It becomes a show is what I want. So we'll see. Again, some news on the High Republic on Monday and then we'll see what else we get. All right, so moving on from Star Wars Celebration, we'll go to a good news that came out that same day, close to it. I was going to wait. I'm going to say now, Lucasfilm, Disney, they get a bad rap the way they do things. They're not dumb. They waited for the same day or around the same time that they said, hey, Star Wars Celebration is canceled. Oh, don't worry. We have a new game coming. Yeah, really? Yeah, Star Wars Squadrons from EA. So this leaked, let me get my quotes, leaked from Xbox the same day that PlayStation 5 was being announced. They leaked this picture that I just saw just show you guys from Star Wars Squadron. So everyone started going crazy about it. Everyone that likes video games, like Star Wars, saw this. And then like 2 or 3 days later, we got that amazing trailer. And then about 2 days ago, we saw 5 minutes, I believe, of in-game footage. So, man, I've said it before. I don't play video games anymore, unfortunately, because I don't have time. I have time. Just as soon as I turn on my old Xbox 360, yes, Xbox 360, my kids, I want to play. Give me that. Again, you're 7 years old. You can't be playing Gears of War, Halo, Assassin's Creed. I don't have time to prepare you for everything that's going to happen. So maybe as I get older, we'll get those video games back, those new consoles. I gotta get a third job to buy how expensive they are. But Star Wars Squadrons looks great. This is right after Return of the Jedi. There's going to be a multiplayer, a single player. You get to play both sides, the Rebellion, the Empire, different squadrons. I believe you can fly 8 ships, 8 starfighters, 4 for each, X-Wing, Y-Wing, the U-Wing, go U-Wing, and the A-Wing. And then for the Empire, I know you got the classic TIE Fighter, the Bomber, I think the TIE Silencer. No, that's Kylos. I know 2 more. I'm sure someone's corrected me on the chat. Probably Anthony. He knows all that stuff. So it looked great. The viewports are a little bit weird, especially the TIE Fighters. I don't know how you'll be able to see through that hole. The X-Wing cockpit looked great. Those games look awesome. I know a lot of people are extremely excited about it. And I think it's October 2nd. So not too far off. And October, we also have our main thing here. Certain point of view, we're talking about it. So there's a lot of Star Wars coming in October. But this game looks great. Not only that trailer, but the gameplay looked great. Who showed up? Hera Syndulla. Syndulla. I say Syndulla. So Hera showed up. She looks great. Our first live action look at Hera and what she might look if she ever makes a live action appearance. For all you Rebel Empire fans out there, Ray Sloan also made her debut in live action. So people are going nuts about all of this. A lot of great connections. People always want those connections between Star Wars, video games, movies, TVs, books. So here we have a book character in Ray Sloan coming into a video game, Hera. Of course, from Rebels showing up in a video game. There's more rumors about who might show up. Is it tied into Alphabet Squadron? So there's a lot of stuff going on with this new game. Looks awesome. So if you guys are into all there's going to be a VR experience, cross-platform. I think there's like 5 different game types that you can do once you're playing. So yeah, looks awesome. If you guys are going to play it, I don't know, just send me a link. I'll watch you guys play. So yeah, let me see. Anthony, Ty Reaper. Thank you, Anthony. Here's my Star Wars encyclopedia. I'm gonna start calling him every time I need something. So yeah, Star Wars Squadrons is coming out just in a few months, not too long from now, October 2nd. So make sure you are, I don't know why I say that. That's a bad transition. So anyway, we're moving from Star Wars Squadron to another basically rumor out there, and it's that it's all connected for the Disney Plus series. So a new rumor coming out that I don't remember where I read it originally, but basically saying that the Mandalorian, the rumored Ahsoka TV series, the rumored Ezra with Throne TV series, and a new Boba Fett series are all going to be connected in what we can all say it's basically the Star Wars version of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Although this is from Latino Review. Come on, Latinos, and I didn't get it. Latino Movies Review, LMR. You know who they are. So that all these shows are going to be connected. Dave Filoni is going to be the one behind it. It makes some sense that this is what they're looking for or what they're trying to do with the TV series in Star Wars. They didn't mention Marvel or the MCU as an inspiration. They used Game of Thrones and basically saying, what if each family in Game of Thrones had its own show and then came together for one, which again sounds more like the MCU. But knowing that DB and Weiss were thinking about doing a Star Wars movie, maybe that's where all this Game of Thrones connection comes in. Like I said, it makes sense for those shows. If you have Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Ezra, Boba Fett, all those can be connected into ones. I think hopefully there's connections between all 4 shows. It's not that they're gonna meet at some point in this big finale. Hopefully, I was thinking more. You can connect Kenobi, Cassian, and the Mandalorian. You can connect those 3 shows just with little connections here and there. We know the child is 50 years old in Mando. Obi-Wan is about 10 years before A New Hope. So how old would the child be at that point? 5, more or less. So you can always say that that's I don't know. Now I'm making stuff up. Kenobi somehow finds Baby Yoda and then sends him somewhere. I don't know. Forget about it. But there can be connection between all those shows. We know between Rebel. We know Bail Organa is going to be in the Cassian Andor series. He could be in the Kenobi series. He can be in the Kenobi series. Then in Rogue One. Then Ahsoka can show up in the Cassian Andor series as Fulcrum. So there's a lot of connections that can be made. I don't think this works for Star Wars overall, making all the TV shows and the movies connected. If you grab 5 shows, even if those 5 that they're mentioned or 4 under Dave Filoni and he makes some sort of connection, then it can work. But I don't want this to be the formula for all of Star Wars. Star Wars, we always say, needs to grow, needs to expand. It's such a big universe. Not everything needs to be connected. If little pockets of different time frames or different timelines kind of mesh together, then that's fine, but not make everything connected in Star Wars. So yeah, we'll see. It's rumors until Lucasfilm says otherwise, so we'll see. And just as I said it, here he is, Anthony. Rumors till we hear it. And yeah, we'll see. Danny, Semperfi Danny, this is the second time I've heard that Disney Marvel crossover rumor. Yeah, we know Dave Feige. Feige has been not rumored. We know he's working on something Star Wars. We believe it's a movie. Was he the one that started these connections? We have Taika Waititi involved. We know that Peyton Reed is doing season 2 of The Mandalorian. So there's a lot of connection between Marvel, Disney, and Lucasfilm. So it's not surprising that they're trying this. MCU, like it or not, is the biggest thing out there right now in movie entertainment. So it's a formula that everyone has tried to copy that no one has been able to reproduce. But if you bring Kevin Feige into it to basically show how to do it, and then you have someone like Filoni and Favreau behind it, it can work. But hopefully, it's not the new future of Star Wars that everything is connected somehow. So, like always, like Anthony said, everything is a rumor till we hear otherwise from Disney and Lucasfilm. So from then we move to our next story segment, which is Ewan McGregor had a very interesting interview with Ace Universe. He was interviewed by Angelique Roach, and they talked about his movie career, a lot of his new plans. Winnie the Pooh even made an appearance. I got teary-eyed when he brought Pooh out. I love Ewan McGregor, and I know I'm not the only one. He talked a lot about Star Wars and a lot about the Kenobi series. Of course, nothing specific, but a lot more than I thought he was going to talk about. I think it was going to be first question, hey, can you talk about Obi-Wan? No. Okay, let's move on. And the topic wouldn't come on again. But he even brought it on. He brought on the topic a couple of times. We know he loves Hello There, because he said, oh, the fans already have a name for the show, Hello There. And he kept saying it, Hello There. It's going to be called Hello There. They want to make it a musical and all this stuff. He, no surprise, mentioned that he visited the Mandalorian set, that they're going to be using the same technology, aka the volume, to record a lot of it. How great this is going to be, because they don't have to worry about blue screen or green screen anymore, which is the same thing we heard from all the actors in the Mandalorian during one of the documentary episodes. We basically assumed that this was going to be the future of TV, making TV or producing TVs, at least for Star Wars, was going to be using the volume. So it's great to know that they're going to use it for the Kenobi series. He talked, I believe he said Deborah Chow. He said it again, he's the one that's going to be doing the show. He confirmed again that it's going to be shooting earlier next year, which we knew already with all this stuff with COVID. He doesn't push it any more further forward, because we knew it was going to be beginning of 2021. Not surprising, but some of the best things that came out of this interview related to Star Wars was him saying that he's more interested in playing Obi-Wan now than he was back in 1999. Oh my goodness. 1999. It took a while to get that 19 out of it. It's been 21 years. Because back then, he's just an actor playing a part. It's a gig. Of course, it's Star Wars, but for him, okay, I'm here, I gotta do a job. Let's start working now. He's grown into this character. He loves the character of Obi-Wan. He knows that we all love the character of Obi-Wan. He's had to lie about this for 4 or 5 years, even though he says he just wanted to tell people but knew he couldn't. But that he's more excited now to play Obi-Wan. So that gets me excited. I'm sure it gets you excited when you hear an actor say, yeah, of course I want to play this character. I want to do it now better than I did back in all those years ago, which we all loved. So hopefully his passion comes through the TV screen, and we feel that, because this time in Obi-Wan's life is very important. It's going to be very emotional. So it's great to hear him say that. And what else did he said? Oh, that now he's going back to Sir Alec Guinness's performances when he was 40, 50 years old, because that's the age that he is now. So he's trying to emulate a little bit of that, plus doing his own way. It can be a 20-year-old Obi-Wan or a 65-year-old Obi-Wan as in New Hope. I don't know how old he was. But yeah, again, it was a great interview, a lot of great insight from Ewan McGregor about Obi-Wan, about the Winnie the Pooh movie, his new movies that he's working on. He wants to do another musical, which is great. Oh, he's doing Pinocchio with Guillermo del Toro. So he's a very busy guy, but it's always time for Obi-Wan. Hello there. So yeah, if you guys haven't checked this interview, it's gonna be down. It's the links below is gonna be the link to the interview, so you guys can check it out. I think it's 30 minutes. The Star Wars bits, again, they're brought up a few times. I think it starts on the 8-minute mark, and then like 3 or 4 more times he talks about Star Wars. But again, it's a great interview. Just watch the whole thing. And like I mentioned at the beginning, the Shannon Moran, When Father Spoke to Me in Star Wars, I'm going to put a link to that also below. Again, happy Father's Day to everyone, so check it out. So, yeah. And with that said, we have a few more Star Wars news to go through, and the next one we're going to talk about is a rumor. So if you don't like rumors, watch out. No spoilers. I think I was going to put a spoiler on it, but rumors for the Clone Wars sequel series. This comes from Castle Run Transmission. They're saying that the Clone Wars sequel, let me try this again. The Clone Wars series is getting an animated sequel coming out, I think, next year. They're pretty far along. And at first they said it was going to be about Rex and Ahsoka, or focusing on Rex and Ahsoka. Those were the first rumors we were hearing, which makes sense in the sense that when we left from the last time we see Ahsoka and Rex, which is at the end of season 7, again, spoilers if you haven't seen the finale of Clone Wars, I believe they're still together. They don't go the separate ways. So they're still together. But when we see them again in Rebels, they have gone their separate ways. We don't know what happened in that time span. So maybe this series talks about it, which I would appreciate. At the same time, I want to move away from it. Same as I said before about all this connected universe. A lot of times we talk about Star Wars needs to expand. We're finished with the Skywalker saga. We've gone back and forth the 30 to 50 years span. We need more. Get out of here, go to another, go to the unknown regions. Now we have the High Republic 200 years in the past, so there's so much we can do about it. But let's make the next 2 animated series, the Clone Wars sequel and the Rebel sequel. That's where I but come on, we're supposed to be expanding. Why are we going back to the same characters that we already know? And of course, there's more stories. You can always make it interesting. But a new rumor that came out with this one, I think also from Castle Run Transmission, was that Ahsoka and Rex are not the main characters. They will show up, but the sequel series, and it's not a sequel, it's the next continuation of some of those characters, is actually about the Bad Batch, Clone Force 99 and Echo, which we last saw them on that first arc in Clone Wars Season 7. I was hoping and thinking they were going to show up at some point for Order 66 at the end of Season 7. They didn't show up. But here they are. If this is true, Clone Force 99, the Bad Batch will be the main focus on the next TV show, Clone Wars animated TV show. And I won't say what I think they're going to be doing because that's one of the questions that we're going to be answering on #AskTheRebellion. So stay tuned for that in a few moments. Let me see what you guys are saying out there. So every scoop they had has been correct. I don't doubt you. I think this is going to pan out. I don't know how excited I'll be for a sequel about clones. They're different than the regular clones that we know, but we'll see. So yeah, Michael, you might be true. And Anthony says, at Tumet2, Michael, Star Wars Network, you think that no one using sources they learn from, you know who? I'm not gonna jump into that one. All right, so again, more Star Wars is good Star Wars. So at one point I say, no, I don't want it. I want something different, a different era. But I'm going to be tuning into that Disney Plus whenever it shows up. So yes. All right. So our next story, and this is going to be our main story later today, and it's The Empire Strikes Back from a certain point of view. This was revealed again by Star Wars really close to the same time that they said Star Wars Celebration is canceled. They basically said, oh, don't worry, we have a new video game coming out, plus we have this book that everyone knew was coming out, same as A New Hope was coming out. Excuse me. So I did talk a little bit about this last week with Matt and the guys from The Geek Strike Back. But after that, we got some bit more information from Star Wars. We started seeing all the authors that were hired, that were writing all these stories. Again, 40 stories, 40 years, 40 authors. And the first thing that I said and everyone said is yes, yes, yes. Look at, I'm sorry if you heard that, that's my phone. Someone sent me a text. It's my brother. And he'll have to wait a little bit for me to answer. Here's messing up with my show instead of watching it. Brothers! Where was I? Diversity. All the authors that were popping up on Twitter saying, yes, I got to write Star Wars. A few years ago, I was trying to sell my first book. Now I'm writing Star Wars. It went male, female, white, black, Hispanic, European. There is so much diversity, so many different views. Different points of views. Yeah, so that's the first thing. A lot of new voices for Star Wars. So let me just run down from a few of them because we got this from StarWars.com later. So some of the stories that we know are going to be told and some of the authors behind them. Austin Walker is going to be talking about Dengar and IG-88. So everyone's going to love that. Hank Green is talking about a Tom caretaker. As someone that used to be an animal caretaker, I know there's a lot of story behind it. People get very close to and attached to animals. So the Tom caretaker, once he learns that Han Solo has sliced that Tom just to keep Luke Skywalker from getting too cold, he's going to be mad. So there might be a lot of good stories there. Tracy Dion's talking about the Dark Side Cave, or writing, I should say, about the Dark Side Cave. Martha Wells about the Ugnaughts in Cloud City. Mark Oshiro is talking about the Wampa. I was going to say Wampa. When this came out, I know everyone went on Twitter. So what do you think? I said, Wampa, that's going to be one of them. So yeah, good to see how the Wampas are getting their due. And Seth Dickinson will be writing about serving aboard a doomed Imperial starship. So those are the stories we know. And some of the other authors, and these are authors that have already written for Star Wars: Delilah S. Dawson, E.K. Johnston, Amy Radcliffe, Kevin Scott, Alexander Freed, Jason Fry, Christy Golden, Danielle Jose Alder, and the list keeps going on and on and on. So great Star Wars authors, great new voices, great diversity. I know Lucasfilm and Star Wars has gotten their fair share of, they've gotten a lot of hate, but a lot of criticism by not doing a lot of diverse hirings or diverse voices when it comes to movies and TV shows. They started with the Mandalorians, Fumajima, Taika, Deborah Chow, Bryce Dallas Howard. So hopefully now we have Leslie Hyland doing a series. So more voices are coming to the live action world, and we see them a lot now with The Empire Strikes Back from a certain point of view. Great, great, great. So if you guys out there in the chat right now, if you have an idea of something you would like to see in The Empire Strikes from a certain point of view from some character, think about it, because we're going to be talking about that in about 5 minutes, because that's our main story today, is what stories would we like to hear from a certain point of view in Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, so Michael Font to me too says, I'm so stoked for this book. Rural Farm Boy Anthony, yeah, I want an ESB, CPOB stories. Yeah, me too. And I'm gonna be honest, I haven't read the first one. I didn't read the New Hope from a certain point of view, so I might need to throw in my podcasting towel because I'm not worthy. I've read a couple of them, especially the Obi-Wan and Yoda, and Obi-Wan with Qui-Gon. Those were some of my favorites. So yes, I will most likely get this one because I will be talking about it here. So I am really excited for that one. Did I say when it was coming out? Oh, I didn't say. Let me find it real quick. I don't have it, but I believe it's in October also. So a lot of great Star Wars stuff coming, like I mentioned, in October. So, right, our final news story is a quick talk about the Mandalorian documentary Connection. So, Disney Gallery, Star Wars The Mandalorian, Episode 8 came out yesterday, the final episode of the Mandalorian documentary called Connection. And just like the title said, connections abound in all of Star Wars. So this might be one of my favorite episodes. It's the longest one, over 40 minutes, and it goes all over the place. You can see Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau just saying, we love Star Wars. This is what we imagined Star Wars being when we were kids. Now we're going to put it on the small screen, I should say. And they go all the background characters that they brought in, all the aliens that no one wanted, the Devaronian, the Twi'leks. Twi'leks have gotten more with Hera and all that. So Devaronians, Twi'leks, all the old droids that no one wanted to use. IG-88 that everyone loves. Let's just make him IG-11 and make him the badass that everyone thought 88 was. We can do Boba Fett. We'll bring our own Mandalorian into this. So it's a lot of great connection, a lot of great backstories on how they got into Star Wars, why they decided to do things this way. always going back to George Lucas. And I love how much they love talking about Star Wars, because that's, hey, look at me. I think if they weren't who they were, they would be having their own Star Wars podcast, geeking about it so much. I'm talking about Filoni and Favreau, the majority. Their passion and it's so, I don't want to use contagious. That's the wrong word to use right now. Well, anyway, you know what I'm saying. It gets you excited about it. I was watching this. I wanted to go back and let me just start with episode 1 of The Mandalorian. It's so infectious. Again, in fact, wrong words to be saying from what I want to say. But some of the other things I took out from this one, everyone's talked about this. Mark Hamill voicing the droid in the cantina. R5 from A New Hope being in the cantina, also in that episode 5. That's the gunslinger. I don't know if people talked about this when it came out. I didn't know about it, so it was great to see. What? That's R5? They fix him. He's there. And then all that detail that for the no, it's going to be leaking from here. It's going to be a little bit messed up. Great. Oh, I keep blocking my droid. It's great to see R5 again. R5, you're still alive. And I think I heard someone else in another podcast was talking that from a certain point of view, A New Hope, there's a story about R5. So again, connections. Quill, the Ugnaught that wasn't going to be speaking English, but just an alien speaking Huttese and snorting like a pig wasn't working. And yeah, we didn't want that for 4 episodes. I think he shows up. So great that they went with Nick Nolte. And my favorite part was the story about how they got the actors to play the X-Wing fighters. They didn't want to do it. They thought it was a joke. Deborah Chow was just ready to leave. No, this is not happening. Filoni and Favreau ripping on each other. Oh, you gotta do it. If not gonna hold this over you. Oh, I gotta fly. I don't have time. I'm doing second unit pickup for Famuyima. Oh, are we really going to do this? I think this was a joke. No, we're gonna do it. And Favreau just laughing it up. No, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Something he just came up himself. No one else wanted to do it. And it's one of those things. It's just great, especially when they talk about it and then you see it. Just do it like nonchalant. You don't care. Oh yeah, there's a gun. They're launching a gunship. All right, just blast them. Okay, we're out of here. When you think it was me, get that gunship. But they're just experienced X-Wing pilots from the wars. Yeah, shoot it and let's go home. So that's what I got out of this documentary, this episode. It's all over now, so there's no more new Star Wars to look. The TVs right now. But yeah, it's a great series. All in all, 8 episodes. Again, this is close to 4 hours of TV, 4 hours of behind the scenes footage. So if you just cut this as a whole documentary, it's one of the longest ones we have for Star Wars, and so much information we get from it and how this show came to be. So hopefully they keep doing this, maybe not for season 2 of Mandalorian, but for the Cassian series, for Kenobi and all the new ones that come after. This is a great way to keep that emotion, that excitement going for Star Wars and the series. So what do you guys thought about not just this episode, but the whole Mandalorian documentary, that gallery, Disney Plus? You guys love it? Fake fan, and Michael, I knew it. Let me just rip all my stuff. You guys like my new background? Sorry if you're on the podcast, you can't listen. So my old background that I had, that cork board with a couple of patches, kept falling down. So I said, you know what, I'm just going to draw. I like drawing. I haven't drawn in a while, so I'm just going to make a couple of drawings. So there you go. That's the new background for now until that tape stops working or stops taping. Everything starts falling. Sith Eternals, they're awesome. Wait, Boba, of course. Boba Fett's got to make. And we talked about Solo last week, and with Wannabe Jedi Cast, I'm going to keep pushing them. They just released their new episode. We're talking about Dryden Boss, and I make an appearance. I'm the guest speaker for that episode. So yeah, go check it out. Crimson Dawn. So yeah, so Eden says, I would love a certain point of view of Phantom Menace edition. There's a lot of stories you can do from a Phantom Menace. It turned to, what did I say, 21 years right now. So maybe they go back and do some for the prequel movies now that all the love that prequels are getting again this past 4 or 5 years. So hopefully they'll go back and do all this. So much fan service. Yeah, that episode, The Mandalorian, they do like Favreau said, there's a lot of fan service, but it's not in your face fan service. If you don't know what it is, fine. It's just a prop. Keep moving. But for us, and even for me, again, I leave Star Wars. I didn't know that was R5. So there's always something new that you learn, even if you know everything about it. Love the Viper droid. Yeah. They're everywhere. You know, my other one. Yeah. That's Anthony talking about my drawings. So, all right. So let's keep moving on because I'm sure you guys don't want to spend the next 20 minutes just looking at my drawings and me talking about them. So our main topic today, or a special topic, I should say, is our stories from a certain point of view. So when this came out, a lot of people, like I said, started writing or posting on Twitter what stories would we like to read about, what characters, which background characters, weird things. So I said, you know what? I have a few. I sent a few out there on Twitter that got a little bit of a response back, and we're going to talk about it. So I wrote down about 10, which seems like a lot. So if I think that this is going on too long, we'll cut a few of them out. And if you followed me for a little bit, if you've watched my shows for a little bit or listened to the podcast, they're going to be pretty silly. Don't take this too seriously, as I always say. Most of them are going to be just off the walls. So we're here to have fun. There's two serious ones that I really think they'll probably do them anyways or something similar to it. But these are the two serious ones that I really would like them to do. Let me get my paper up here, but not block the camera. So the first one, it's Yoda and Obi-Wan Kenobi having a chat after either two things happen. Either Luke leaves Dagobah to go to Cloud City, or after Luke enters the dark side cave. We know on the first from a certain point of view, the one from A New Hope, when Luke goes to try and save Aunt Beru and Uncle Owens, that Qui-Gon Jinn shows up to Obi-Wan, not spectral form, or he's starting to show his spectral form. See, I haven't read it, but I did my research. I've read parts of it. And they're talking about Luke. He's not ready. I didn't tell him the truth about his father and all that stuff. So I think something similar is going to happen on this one. But basically, it's going to be, I would like to see when Luke goes into the dark side cave, Yoda tells him, don't take your weapons, you don't need them. He goes in anyway. Yoda makes a face like he's going to fail. I want Obi-Wan to show up. And Obi-Wan and Yoda have a conversation about Luke's training, how it's going. If he's not ready yet, he's going to face Vader and he's going to fail. I told you to bring me Leia, not Luke. This is Yoda talking to Obi-Wan. So I think there's a very deep story that you can tell there. There's a lot with the Force. The Force is one of my favorite things in Star Wars. So I think a conversation that has to deal a lot with the Force between Yoda and Kenobi in this setting, with Luke failing in the dark side cave, is right there for the taking. So hopefully they do follow this and they do something with this. So let me guys know if you think that's a good idea. My second one and my final serious story, it's something that after Solo, which I keep talking week in and week out because I love that movie, but everyone loves L3, or most people love L3, and she gets plugged into the Falcon. And everyone goes, oh, then that connects to an Empire Strikes Back when C-3PO tells Han, hey, your computer has this weird dialect that I don't understand. That's it. If you have a story now with L3 communicating with C-3PO in that scene where they're inside the space log in the asteroid field, with C-3PO trying to understand what L3 is saying, we know L3 wanted to be free. She wanted to liberate all the droid rights, and now she's servant to all the humans plugged into this machine. She's basically, I don't want to say a slave, but she's stuck there. She can't leave the Falcon. So everything that she was fighting for, she can experience herself. So what if it's a conversation between L3 and 3PO, with L3 trying to somehow get 3PO to free her, at least free her consciousness, transfer my consciousness in a droid to another droid. I want to be free of this. And 3PO, he has no idea what's going on, because 3PO, he's only has one mindset. So a very deep conversation between 3PO and L3 with her stuck inside the Falcon in that scene. Oh, your navigation computer has a weird dialect. Let's see that conversation. Why is he saying it's a weird dialect? What is L3 trying to tell C-3PO? I think that's deep. There's a lot, again, if you read the Solo novelization, they go deeper into this, L3 gaining her conscience again when she's plugged into the Falcon. Let's keep exploring this because there's a lot. It could go either way. It can be very positive. It can go the other way if it's not done right. But I think that's another story that I would like to read more about L3 being stuck inside the Falcon and how she's dealing with it. And having C-3PO being that vessel for that communication, I think is the way to go. All right, that's it. Those are the serious ones. Let's get silly with all this. I need another word. I need a thesaurus. My thesaurus right now is not working. So my first one, and this is the one I said like 3 times on Twitter already, is who the hell set the table on Cloud City when Darth Vader is there in that dinner table, Han Solo, Leia, Chewbacca walking with Lando, and that whole story ensues. So Vader sitting down at this dinner table. Who set that plate? Who set that table up? So I'm thinking now, because we know Vader and Boba Fett got there beforehand, because Lando says it, they got here right before you did. So imagine Vader landing in Cloud City. Oh, who's in charge here? Oh, I'm Lando, blah, blah, blah. I need a place to conduct a little talk. All right, I'm going to bring you my Cloud City special party planner. He will get you set up right. Don't worry. Okay, have fun. Oh, yes, sir, Lord Vader. What do you want? We have all these options. Well, I'm looking for something. These 3 people are coming. It's an important talk, but I wanted to see 2 eager about it. So what? Oh, we have this conference room that we can set up for you. No, that's too business-like. I don't want a conference room. I think a little bit more, less formal, so we can have a nice chat. Also, we have this balcony overlooking Cloud City. You can see all the city and all the clouds and everything. No, that's too romantic. That's too personal. I don't want that. All right, well, let me see. We have a dining room where we're setting up for a wedding later today. We can say, oh yeah, dining room is fine. I can eat. It was a long flight. Hey, Boba Fett, can you eat? Yeah, we can eat. So yeah, let's set up that table in that dining room. We'll meet you there. Okay, so Lord Vader, what do you want? You want some salad, just some finger food? Oh, I don't know, something with a straw. Because the mask, so no solid foods. It's a little hard to chew and burn under this. So just liquid food. Boba, anything special for you? No, he's fine. He won't eat anyways. So yeah, we'll come back. Just let me know when it's ready. I gotta go do something. I gotta check some carbon freezing. I'll be right back. Then you have this party plan. Okay, now I gotta set up the table for Lord Vader. He's gonna kill me if I. Okay, he gets his crew together. All right, we gotta set a table. We need plates on this side, napkins. No, napkin goes on the right, not on the left. Left is for the salad forks. There are other ones. What else? I'm not seeing coasters. We need to get coasters. Oh, what? They're here? Okay, they're here. Yeah, hurry up. Vader, call Vader. They're coming. And then Lord Vader comes. Oh, they're here. Oh, I'm not ready. Okay, let me sit down. Oh, I'm nervous again. Oh, door opens. Hey, pew, pew. And they're like, oh, come on, dude. Just set up this nice table for you and you're shooting at me. Come on. All right, so that's my first silly one. And I know I might have gone a little too far, but we all have wondered who set that table. Why is Vader at a dining room, not dining table, dinner table? Give me that story. Who set that table and that conversation here with Vader to decide which type of forks to use? All right, so my next one, and I don't think I'm going to beat that one, so I should just quit right now. Next is the space log. Poor space log setting in. He's going to hibernate, probably going to go to sleep for 1,000 years or something. And he said, okay, I'm going to go to sleep. This quiet asteroid field, no one's going to bother me. He lays back. He does what I do when I'm flying on an airplane. 10 minutes into the flight, I'm there, mouth open, full asleep. That's the space dog. He's there sleeping with his mouth open. Some minus flying. He's fine. They're symbiotic. They're going to eat all the junk that he has on his food, cleaning his teeth, and he's not going to eat them. And then this spaceship comes on, and he starts feeling something in his throat. He's just trying to sleep. And then a spaceship lands in. He's got a cough, frog in his throat. He's trying to cough it out and then just flying out of the way. So a story about the space log trying to hibernate, and that flying Millennium Falcon doesn't let him. Imperial probe droid. Of course, come on, look at that guy. You don't want a story about him? Why is he sent into that frigid hellscape of Hoth? He's probably, why am I on Hoth? Cold isn't good for my joints, and our S5P got some to Scarif or whatever is left of Scarif over there, although sand is not good for your joints either. But here I am at Hoth. There's no life here. I'm just freezing my joints up. Oh, wait, there's someone over there. Oh, they're shooting at me. Same thing. Come on. He's trying to make some friends, and they're just shooting at him as soon as he gets there. So, yeah, story about my friend, the Imperial Probe droid. Give him a story. The guy in Empire Strikes Back, another iconic scene, it's Han and Leia having an argument in that Hoth hallway or pathway, and then this guy's coming in with his box full of tools, and he has to walk right between them. They pull back and they go back to a conversation. Can you imagine being this guy coming around the corner and you see two generals, Leia's Organa, one of the most important people in the rebellion, the hero of the Death Star, Han Solo on the other side, going at it, arguing. You have to walk in between them. You doing that long walk 20 feet away. Oh, crap. This is going to be awkward. I got to walk in between these two. They're always arguing, and I'm the one that has to go and walk through them. Oh, are they going to chew me out? Let's see what that guy had. Then he probably went to his friend. They're arguing again. The whole station is about to fall again, shoot up from the Empire, and they're arguing about something. Come on, guys. Let's just leave them behind. So I think there's a story there also. All right, let me just do two more. You guys like this? Again, let me shoot your questions. I'll go through the chat in a little bit and see what you guys think about what type of stories you would like to see out there. That was this is another pretty weird one. So Luke escapes the Wampa, right? And he's walking out. He's so and then he falls down on the snow. He's about to faint. He's about to black out. And for the first time since he died, Ben Kenobi shows up. This is the first time that we see the Jedi ghost of Obi-Wan Kenobi. First time that we know of that Luke sees the ghost of Kenobi. And he just leaves. Luke is, Ben, I'm dying. And Ben Kenobi's like, Luke, how you doing? You doing okay? You don't look too good down there. Anyways, when you get your strength back, get in your X-Wing, fly to Dagobah, you'll find it. Dagobah is not too far. Find Yoda. You don't need to know who he is. Just find Yoda, Jedi Master. He'll help you. Okay, bye. Ben. Come on, really? Ben Kenobi, you're my favorite guy. You just leave your pupil, your apprentice just lying there on the snow. He'll be fine. And then it cuts, and it's Yoda on Dagobah. You what? You left him and Hoth dying over there? And then Kenobi, yeah, and I told him to come here and find you. What do you do that for? I told you already, I want Leia. I don't want this kid. And now he's dying and you tell him to come here? Oh, Kenobi. I don't do a good Yoda. So yeah, come on, Ben. Be a little better. Help your poor guy out. And then the next story, it's Yoda there thinking, okay, so Luke is coming here. So what can I do? I'm Yoda. I'm going to trick him. So what can I do to trick him? Yeah, I'm going to laugh. Every time he asks me something, I'm just going to make a weird laugh. Oh, yeah. I'm going to speak backwards, although I do that anyway, but he doesn't know. Every time he asks for something, I'm going to laugh. And when he says, can I take, yeah, I'll take you to Yoda, but first I'm hungry. Let's go eat. Let's go and I'll take you to my house, my little hut there. I know he doesn't fit in because he's too small, but he doesn't know. So it's going to be great. And then his ship, your ship is, because we know he's going to crash. You know he's going to crash. And then, you lost your ship? Lost your ship? Yoda. So yeah, Yoda thinking, how I'm going to mess with this guy up when he gets here to teach old Obi-Wan a lesson that he wasn't the right one. I needed Leia. All right, so let me do one more. I have like three more. I'm just going to do one more. All right, so Captain Nida, as we know, doesn't make it out. So when they lose the Millennium Falcon, when he comes out the asteroid field, hey, Captain Nida, Lord Vader is asking for an update. Get my ship ready. I'll tell them myself that it was my fault. And the next time we see him, he's dead. Basically, you got choked. Thank you, Captain Nida, but you're dead. You imagine that flight over from his ship, from his starship to the Vader Star Destroyer, Nida just making up excuses. Okay, I got to find a way. I got to make some excuses. Who can I blame? that radar tech guy, he lost it on the radar. It wasn't me. It was the radar technician. I'm going to tell Lord Vader that I knew where it was, but the radar, no, that's not going to work. I need a better excuse. I don't know. I'm here. I got to find something. So yeah, so Nida flying to see Vader and trying to make an excuse. I think it's got to be a fun story over there. All right, again, I had a couple more, but I think I've made my point. So there's, from a certain point of view, again, this is a great book. It's going to have some great stories, different perspective. From the first one, we know a lot of them are serious. They add a lot to the canon. Others are just a bit silly, like we just talked about. So we, in this show, Radio Rebellion, we're here to have fun about Star Wars. So those are some of the stories I would like to see from a certain point of view in Empire Strikes Back. So let me go to the chats real quick and see what you guys are saying. Anthony, you're saying, yeah, whichever stories they want to tell. And of course, that's the way to go, especially with all the great voices that we have, all the great authors. I know we're going to get some great stories. So yeah, again, just a few more months to wait. It won't be too bad. Eden Gray saying, I think that Kenobi chat with Yoda idea is fantastic. Would love to read that. Me too. And I'm sure there's 40 great authors thinking about this. I'm sure one of them is going to have a story between Yoda and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Semper Fi Dan is saying, yes, L3 and C-3PO. There's a lot there. 2 droids being the main protagonists of that story. Both of them are completely different, but there's a story there to say. Anthony jumping back in and saying that solo novel L3 became one with the Falcon. Droid's brain, her personality lost. You're right. She does become a Falcon. The Falcon's droid is a little bit different. Her personality got lost. Again, I just read the solo novelization once. I gotta go back because there's a couple of pages about L3 being connected. But we can hope. Again, it's been a few years. She's learning the Falcon. Maybe she gets some of her memory back. But again, this is from a certain point of view. Not all the stories have to be true. We know they can change, not canon. They're just stories that we tell everyone. So we will see. Michael from 2Met2 is saying, what about the creature that spits out R2? I had it first, and I didn't talk about it. But yes, that snake creature in Dagobah that spits out R2. Oh, what's this metallic thing? I'm a vegetarian. I don't want no metal in my mouth. I got braces for that. Anthony says the dragon snake on Dagobah. There you go. Thanks for not just calling the weird creature. You talked about it. Thanks, Michael. Yeah, he talked about it in the Baghdad tank with Albert too. You know. So yeah, go check Michael's Baghdad tank. There's always great stories over there. Great chats. He has great guests and everything. Sometimes they go long. Those guys talking about it. So it's great. And then we were told that there were many stories about creatures when we asked Del Rey books. Again, this is from Michael from 2Met2 saying that there's going to be a lot of stories about creatures. I think, I'm not going to say, but Empire Strikes Back is one of those Star Wars movies that does have a lot of creatures. We did talk about a lot of weird creatures in Star Wars a few weeks ago. So yes, let's get more stories about those weird creatures. And with that, we go to my favorite part of the show, which is when you guys come in and it's Ask the Rebellion. So I put it out there on Twitter. Sometimes I get questions, sometimes I don't. And I did get about 5 great questions this week. So let's go through them real quick and we'll discuss your questions, your answers. And if you guys are on the chat and you want to chime in what you think about all this, then let's go. So let's start with @GeekyGirlGab. Those ladies over there have a great podcast. Hopefully we'll get them in here someday, or I'll go over there. Who knows? So let me get my full question here. So @GeekyGirlGab podcast says, what is your dream Star Wars Disney Plus series? So again, if you listen to last week's episode with Wannabe Jedi Cast and the Geek Strike Back podcast, this was our main topic, was which type of Disney Plus Star Wars series we would like to see. And I had 3 options. One was a space racer, basically actual space racing in Star Wars. We saw a little bit about it in Star Wars Resistance animated show with I just forgot the name of the group, the Aces. So they do a little bit in the first few episodes, but not too much. on an actual racing circuit with X-Wings, Y-Wings, TIE fighters, Imperial shuttles, modified starfighters, the First Light, Slave One, VCX, throw that goes in there, those type of ships. Having those, an actual space racing type of show would be interesting. I also talked about an actual bounty hunter show with Boba Fett, IG-88, Boss, Dengar, all those guys during the beginning of the Empire, going out and chasing rebel cells. Might be pretty awesome. But the third one that I said, and I'm sticking with this option. I was thinking, should I say a different one? But no, I'm going to stick with this one. I'll expand a little bit more on it. Whew, squeeze me, and it's this guy's here. So if you're just listening to a podcast, you don't see me pointing to that Crimson Dawn sign behind me. Oh, I got some gas. Ooh, excuse me. Solo 2. I don't know how many times I mentioned Solo today, and I'll keep mentioning Solo till we get Solo 2, and then I'll say Solo 2. But an actual Solo sequel or a follow-up story, let's say, that focuses on, because I want Solo. I love what Alden Ehrenreich did with it. I love his relationship with Chewbacca. Of course, I want more than that's the main thing that I want. But I know people want different things. Follow Kira, follow Maul and Crimson Dawn. Some people want just Lando. Others don't want anything. But if you're going to make something with Solo, make it a TV series. And it can be a one-off, a special series, 1 or 2 seasons, It doesn't have to go on forever and ever. But my dream Star Wars series would be, so Han Solo does what happens in Solo. He meets Jabba the Hutt, the big job on Tatooine, meets Jabba, he's there with Chewie, he meets Boba Fett, he meets all this, the Hutt cartel, basically. Then on the other end, you have Maul and Kira, Crimson Dawn. They go meet, so you have your episodes just between them. We see what they're doing. We get more Kira, we get more Maul, and it's Maul losing control of his Crimson Dawn and his empire that he's building with all the syndicates, the 5 syndicates. And he's like, no, screw this. Who took my coaxium? We're gonna go find it. They killed my boy in Dryden Boss. They killed Beckett, which I really don't care about. Oh wait, they're working with Jabba and with the Hutt cartel? No. That's not gonna work. So now you have on one end, you have Boba Fett, Han Solo, Chewbacca, Jabba the Hutt cartel. On the other end, you have Maul, Kira, Crimson Dawn. If you want to throw in the Pikes in there, throw in the Pikes. You can have Enfys Nest come back as a MacGuffin of some sort. Actually, she's the one that has all your coaxium, and she might come in just to throw them off. You can have the rebellion also involved in it somehow. Just keep them out of it. Just make that underworld gangster movie that we wanted, focusing on Jabba and Jabba's palace, but bring in these guys also. So you have on one end, because there's no heroes here. You want your bad guy TV show, you have Crimson Dawn, Maul, Kira on one end, having to go against Han Solo, who we know their background with the Hutts, Boba, so I can get Boba Fett more how I want him. I think that's the show that they should do, and that's my dream Disney Plus Star Wars series. So a Solo sequel focusing on whatever I just said. So let me know which one is for you guys, your dream Star Wars Disney Plus series. Thank you again for Geeky Girl Gab for this great question. So following up, another great podcast is the guys Josh and Adam from A Certain Point of View podcast. And this goes back to one of our new segments today. And they write, rumors are swirling this week about a Bad Batch animated series. Assuming this comes true, what do you think the Bad Batch is getting into post-Clone Wars? And that's a loaded question because I don't know is the first answer. There's a lot of speculation that the Bad Batch after Clone Wars, during Clone Wars, they were known as Clone Force 99. And then we know that in the comics, there's Task Force 99, which is a special group of stormtroopers that goes in chase of rebel cells. Can this be the same group? If you think about it, yes, it makes sense that Clone Trooper 99 became Task Force 99, and they're following trying to find all these rebel cells. I don't know if that makes sense when you think about it, because Bad Batch is a group of clones that are defective, as they say. We don't know if they have the inhibitor chip in them, if it even works. Did they participate in Order 66? Of course, this can be part of the show. But to me, if if that chip isn't working for them, which that's my first thought, then there's no way they're going to be working for the Empire. I think, why would they follow the Empire and do this for them? They have no love for the Empire. They do what they want. They're mercenaries, and that's the other I'll jump into in a minute. I don't think that if their inhibitor chip isn't working, I don't see them working for the Empire, chasing down rebel cells. Doesn't make sense to me that they will work for them. On the other end, they're mercenaries, basically. So if that's where the money is, that's what gets them excited. Same as we learned with Cara Dune being a rebellion shock trooper. After the war ended, she was just basically trying to get dignitaries and people. There wasn't a fight, so that she left the rebellion or the New Republic and joined just being a mercenary. So maybe it's that sort of thing, and that might be interesting. So Clone Force 99 is done. The war is over. They really they didn't do anything with Order 66, but now it's a world where they don't belong. How can they belong? Working for the Empire, chasing rebels. You're still creating chaos like they want. So that might be it. And I think that's the way to go about it. Again, this is not my first choice following them into a new series. I would prefer something different. But I think if they're going to do it, this is the way to go about it. Maybe they're working with Inquisitors on one end. Inquisitors trying to get the Jedi. They're trying to get the rebel cells. So there's something there that might work. So I think that's what they're going to be doing. So again, thanks Adam and Josh for that great questions. From a certain point of view podcast, check them out. I was in their live chat earlier today. There's always great stuff coming from them. So if you're not following them, same as Geeky Girl Gab, go give them a follow on Twitter. Listen to their podcast. They're all great guys and girls over there. Next question comes from Dave and Dave at Peace and Parsecs. They're always throwing me those difficult questions. And if you guys haven't, Dave and Liv, they're getting married soon. They posted on Twitter. They're under 100 days away from their wedding. So congratulations, guys. Hope that day goes fine without a hitch. And your question is, what is your favorite non-Star Wars duo or team and why? So this is one of those questions, same as one that's coming a little bit later, that seems easy, but it really isn't. I could just, someone from Lord of the Rings, and that's it. Let's go next question. But let's think about it a little bit more. And this is something that after I answer it, I'm sure I'm going to have different answers. Oh, how did I forget about that guy or that group or that team? But I was thinking about it. So yes, if I go team, so my favorite team is the Fellowship. Of course, Aragorn, Frodo, Boromir, Legolas, Sam, all those other guys. It's like 9 of them. How come I can't remember them on the spot? Gandalf? I think Gandalf is one of them. So yeah, the Fellowship is my favorite team. But if we're talking duo, and then I would go also to Aragorn and someone else, because Aragorn is my favorite character in Lord of the Rings, but no. Favorite duo from the Fellowship, from Lord of the Rings, of course, is Sam and Frodo. And we know the real hero of the story is Sam. Sam has the greatest arc, I would say, in almost any trilogy. Samwise Gamgee, someone that stops at the edge of the Shire. Or if I take another step, this is the farther away from home I've ever been. And Frodo says, we're still in the Shire in Hobbiton. And he ends up, one of my favorite scenes that I tear up every time. Mount Doom, Return of the King. I can't carry the ring for you, but I can carry you. And he throws Frodo over his shoulder. He stumbles as he's trying to get his weight under him. And he starts going up the mountain. That's one of the greatest scenes ever when it comes to duos, friendship, and growth of a character. And we make fun growing up again. Oh, they're going to make songs about us and all this thing. But the love, dedication, and passion, not passion not the word, but love and dedication that Sam has for Frodo and for Gandalf and trusting him as Frodo's protector from that ending of the Fellowship of the Ring. Oh, you don't know how to swim, so it doesn't matter. I'm told Gandalf, I wasn't going to leave you. To the Two Towers, to the end of the Return of the King. Sam and Frodo are the best duos out there for me. And apart from that, I've been watching or rewatching Hannibal on Netflix, which Gail and I saw. And the relationship between Hannibal Lecter and Will Graham, which is the FBI special investigator, I think it's a great relationship. It's a great duo because Hannibal is the only person that Will Graham can be truly honest and tell him his feelings, how he's feeling about everything that's been going on around him. So I think they have a great relationship. And going more to this type of world, Thor and Rocket Raccoon, come on, how can you not love those guys? We need something. We hope that they're going to be doing some more between them in Guardians of the Galaxy 3, maybe, or in Thor Love and Thunder. So yeah, Rocket Raccoon, Thor, great duo. We need more of them. And Dave and Dave, Pizza and Parsecs, if you're waiting for me to say, oh, my favorite duos, pineapple and pizza. No, I won't say it. I know Michael over there, 2 meters, probably writing, come on, you got to eat it. No. All right. Thank you guys again for that great question. 2 more. Now we go to at Semperfi Danny. Hopefully you're still out there, Danny. And your question is it worth it to get into Legends material in a post-Disney era Star Wars world, especially for newer fans of the franchise? So I wrote back to you to say that this is very timely because I've been in that same boat. I never got into the Star Wars Legends or the expanded universe when it was going on. I really didn't get into reading a lot of things beforehand because everything I read was for high school or for college. So when you're reading for school, you don't appreciate it. But afterwards, you start getting into it and you develop that passion for reading great books, at least Star Wars books for me. So I never got into the Legends material, but I've been thinking about going back to them because there's some great books out there. People just rave about them. So I would say yes, of course. If you love Star Wars, you're not so beholden to canon that if you read something that's not approved canon, I can enjoy it. There's great Legends books out there. We know the original Throne trilogy, Heir to the Empire, from Timothy Zahn is the one that comes up always. And one that's very close to the Disney era is the Darth Plagueis novel by James Lucinos, and that's the one I'm thinking about getting. So I think, yes, it's great Star Wars book. So again, if you want to know more about Star Wars and you don't care it doesn't matches up perfectly with canon, it doesn't matter. It's still a great story. That's what books and novels are in comic books. It's just great storytelling. I think there is great storytelling in Legends. You just got to pick and choose which ones. So probably do a little research first. Don't buy the first Legend book that you see and start that way. See if you like them. And if it doesn't match up with canon, who cares? If you love that story, find someone else that loves that story and just talk about it. Don't get into, well, canon is better. No, Legends is better. But they say this, it contradicts that. Just enjoy it as a great Star Wars story. And I think that's it. So if you do, let me know. Let me know which one you picked up to see if I'll do the same. So I might get that Darth Plagueis novel and then we'll talk about it. But yes, I think, again, reading is fundamental. So yeah, go ahead, pick it up. Don't worry about others might say if it's canon or not. A lot of people love Legends, so I would say do it. All right, so our last question comes from at NerdHerderCast. Sorry, let me start. NerdHerder, a Star Wars podcast. And they say favorite non-Star Wars sci-fi property. And this, again, I wrote to them to say this seemed like an easy answer, but no, it's not, because there's some great sci-fi out there. And also you try, so what's sci-fi? So I love the Terminator series, and it's the first two. Yeah, that's science fiction, but there's a lot of bad movies that came after that one. Is Jurassic Park considered sci-fi? Well, there's cloning and all this stuff. So yeah, sci-fi, not what we would think about sci-fi first. So I would say there's a few. As always, I cheat in my answers. I won't say just one. I'll leave my current favorite one for the end. So I do love all the new Star Trek movies, the J.J. Abrams Star Trek, including Into Darkness. I did love that second one, what Benedict Cumberbatch did with Harrison, aka Khan. I think was great. I know that movie gets a lot of hate, but it's basically because they lied. They didn't want to say that he was playing Khan. But I do love that movie. I love the performances in it. The last Star Trek movie was also pretty good. So those three are pretty enjoyable. They're great movies to watch if you just want to have a good time watching sci-fi movies. I think the new Star Trek ones are a good way to go. I did grew up watching a lot of Star Trek: The Next Generation with one of my brothers, not the one that interrupted my podcast with his text, my other brother. We did watch a lot of Star Trek, so that's one, the older Next Generation. Video games wise, I used to play a lot of Mass Effect, so that's a great sci-fi property. The Mass Effect games for Xbox. TV wise, The Expanse. I really enjoyed the first season. I think they're like on season 3 or 4 now. I only watched 2 episodes, I believe, for season 2, but that first season is great. Stranger Things, you can consider that sci-fi horror, I guess, so that's a pretty good one. But the one that's got me the most involved, and season 3 is coming out next week, I believe, also on Netflix, is a German series called Dark. If you guys haven't seen that one, that is a great sci-fi show. And again, it's different. I call it sci-fi because there's time traveling. There's 3 different time periods that everything is happening. I won't spoil too much about it because I don't want to spoil it, but it's so complicated. I had to watch it with my phone to make sure I was following, going back, and who's this character. So basically, in the present day, 2015, let's say, a kid about 10 or 12 years old disappears. He shows up in the past about 30 or 40 years ago in the 80s, where his parents are teenagers, but of course, no one believes that he's this kid from the past. But at the same time, one of the kids from the past also got lost, which is his parents' brother gets lost, and then we have someone from the future coming to present day. So there's that sci-fi element. And there's 3 timelines and 3 stories going on at the same time: present time, past time, and future time. And it's extremely complicated. You either have to put subtitles or English dubbed over, which is the way I go for it. Well, it's a great series, very engaging, it's entertaining, but there's a lot of things going on. You're not sure, who's this guy? Wait, is this guy that person's father from the past, and now you're seeing them in the future, and then blah. So it's a great series. If you're into that craziness, you gotta think a lot about it. Dark on Netflix is right now one of my favorites. I would call it sci-fi series out there. Oh, so yeah, great questions, guys, from Nerd Herder Podcast, Semper Fi Danny, Peace and Parsecs, Certain Point of View, and Geeky Girl Gav. Thank you guys for your questions. I love answering your questions, so thanks again. And before we head out, let me see what you guys said on your comments real quick. Make Solo 2 happen, going back to our discussion about Disney Star Wars show. So yes, make Solo 2, that's the one I want to be. So yeah. Oh, Mr. Rez, how you doing, Mr. Rez? I didn't see you there. So yes, make Solo 2, some sort of Solo sequel or Solo follow-up is what we need for that Star Wars Disney Plus series. Michael says a set of shows like Netflix did with Marvel. I mean, it could be Daredevil, Luke Cage, all those. Yeah, then get them together in one scene, in one series could work. There's an entire trilogy of storylines right there. Yeah, again, there's a lot of stuff you can do with Solo. There's a lot of branches you can go out. Follow Solo and Chewie, follow Kira and Maul, follow Lando. So there's a lot of stuff you can do, and then just bring them together. That's another great way to go about it. Peter Biox at JT Comley says Legolas and Gimli as one of his favorite duos. And Eden Gray mentions Sam and Frodo, Cryo, and Mount Doomsday every time. I'm right there with you. Again, going back to being a parent, I gotten soft a little bit. I think the first time I saw it on theaters back in 2003, I didn't cry, but watching that scene now, it gets me every time. Peter never make it through Return of the King without crying. Right there, don't feel bad about it. And then you also say that hell, I cry even Jay and Silent Bot reboot. There's nothing wrong with it. We take our emotions and we show them out there. Simplify Danny, yep, crying in those scenes. Michael at 2 said Firefly, one of his favorite sci-fis. I did like Firefly. Don't love it as much as everyone out there. This is a great cult classic. I don't know if we call it a cult classic, because it's so out there in this world. Firefly and the movie that followed it's great science fiction. Maybe because it's just one season, right? Maybe if it was more, we could get a little bit more through it, and I would have loved it a little bit more. Mike also said, Pete, according to George Lucas, Legend was never canon. Yeah, it wasn't canon, but Peter says that for him, Legend was canon. But yeah, I mean, it's Star Wars. We love what we love. And Anthony Rural Fanboy, yes, are you familiar with Battlestar Galactica? I am, but I didn't get into it when it came out. I don't even remember when it came out. I think I watched a few. I think one of my brothers did watch it. So I know it's out there. I think it's on Amazon Prime maybe. So there's so many shows right now, but if I can, I gotta get into Battlestar Galactica with Katie Sackhoff, if I'm not mistaken, and we hope to see her in Mandalorian Season 2 playing Bo-Katan, so we'll see. Peter also says Firefly rules, Farscape from Eden, and yeah. And then there was a discussion between Peter, Michael, and Anthony about getting testy. But yeah, Tooth. You gotta be careful with those guys. All right, so with that, we'll be closing our show today. Thanks to everyone in the chat out there. Thank you guys for holding on. Look at this, almost an hour and a half. This is my longest one-man show that I've done so far. And it's all thanks to you guys. Thanks for everyone for sending me your questions. I love answering your questions, engaging with the fans, engaging with you guys on the chat. This is why I do what I do with you guys. That's why I started this podcast, is to talk Star Wars with you guys. So thanks again for your support and getting the voice out there for Radio Rebellion and Star Wars podcast. You can follow us on Twitter at Radio Rebel Pod, and now also on Instagram at Radio Rebel Pod. If you're watching this, don't forget to, if you haven't, like before you leave, hit that thumbs up button, comment if you're watching this later, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And then on Monday, this will come out on the audio podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, Anchor.fm. Listen up, hit play, rate, review, even if just a couple of stars. Hey, hi, Alberto. Just give a quick shout out in those reviews. I would love to hear your thoughts and see your comments below on Twitter. And if you're listening to this on the audio podcast, make sure to go to YouTube, search for Radio Rebellion Podcast, watch the live shows. That's how all this happens. This is the way I prefer to do them, engaging with you guys and you guys looking at my drawings. Yes, and like I said before, July 13th, episode 29, I believe it's going to be done. Mark it on your calendars. Don't forget. Force of Light Entertainment. Michelle and Natalie will be here, hopefully, on the live show. So get your questions ready. Make sure you're on the chat. We're going to have a great fun with them. And thanks as always. And stay safe, be safe, and may the Force be with you.